So I know that this video is way past due and I was supposed to make this video like years prior, but I guess for now I'm going to make this video anyway, just so people who are coming to the PCE fandom can finally learn what I truly was before I came to be as an artist, and also what I used to do before I picked up the pencil and decided to work. This is the story of what PCE originally was before the comics and the artwork. This is behind the scenes, Piperis Creations Entertainment. If you haven't already, please subscribe and also turn on notifications. Cause I am an avid uploader. I literally have nothing to do, so I usually just upload a lot. If you turn on the notifications, you'll get notified each time I upload, and also you'll be able to see what new posts come upon the YouTube timeline. So yeah, without further ado and all this yapping, let's go ahead and get into the behind the scenes of what PCE truly was before the pencil, the comics, and the paper. So it should already go without even needing to be mentioned on what Piper's Creations Entertainment is. You are on this platform and also on this channel. I count PCE as a platform itself since you are on my page. It is not needing to be explained what you are here for and what PCE is, but the aspect of it and what technically it really is. There is really no borderline of when it really started, but I like to say that it started in 2020 perhaps. Unfortunately, I had to dig through an old folder portfolio that I have of all the OG Grapeseed Avenue mediocre matches and possibly Poinches Blackjacks documents that I planned at the beginning of PCE. PCE started off small as a little friend group association, but then I started to move away because I started working on my own stuff, which is when I came up with the original idea of Gracie Avenue, which its original name was Dog Days, but I had changed the name due to how generic the comic series' name was, so then it became Grapeseed Avenue. The name was inspired off of an area I like to hang out in a video game that shall not be named, but you could probably know what it is. But literally, it was a nice name because it was ungeneric and also it was quite unique. But to get off the topic of Grapeseed Avenue, basically PCE was carried by Grapeseed Avenue, but it was also carried by all my other creations that I can't really name because they don't exist anymore, such as Lost Media, but I can worth noting them. And if you're an OG fan of PCE, you will know exactly what I'm talking about too. Far lo and behold, I had plans for the Grapeseed Avenue comic server and the PC server, but at the time I didn't use Discord until May, so I was just creating concepts to use for the future. But unfortunately, these stickers weren't used. That was for the best. I do recall that around this time frame, this is when I started developing Grapeseed Avenue further on, and also other comics. So this is when I started making characters outside of the Grapeseed Avenue jurisdiction, but also to expand my art style. If you have noticed, my art style has changed a bit in these photos, but that's because I was slowly improving. But improving wasn't doing me much good back then when my art style was still a bit trashy. But it's worth noting, and it's also kind of interesting, that even during this time period, I was focusing on other things. Which on a perfect note is when I will now begin the second chapter of this video. Okay, on a side note, for those who remember this time era in PCE, give yourself a pat on the back right now or high five each other, because if you remember this era, you have got to be a day one. Because most of the people who remember this time era were most likely here since the very beginning or just stuck around to see how far I've gotten. Because really where it all started was when I started using Ibis Paint through a friend that recommended it to me, and I started to use my own drawings and I would outline them and then color them in as if I would do a rough sketch. Now, don't get me wrong, bro. These were actually kind of fire back in the day when I first started. Because, hey, back then I didn't know how to draw. So this was kind of like a big stepping stone for me because this was really fun. Because I now could, upload these onto the internet and share what my art actually looked like instead of monochrome colors. Now, I think it's worth mentioning on how the process was. So I'll literally just draw on a piece of paper, mostly printer paper, then take a photo of it, rasterize it using a thick outline like Sharpie, or marker, and then I would basically color it and then upload it as media. So it would look somewhat like these examples I'm putting right here. These are real examples of what happened and what I usually use to like share my art. But back then, due to me losing most of the digital artwork and also starting to have to work online, I basically it's lost media now, but I have the originals in case y'all want them. They will be in the classics in the Grapeseed Avenue comic server, so stay tuned for that. These examples really just brought upon a new future to PCE once I started learning how to draw digital. Most of these characters that were drawn weren't actually characters and were cut originally because I didn't see to have a reason. So they mostly were just sketch characters or concept characters, but it was true history of where I began to start to draw digitally, and it really just goes to show on how much practice can put in for work, which is why I am the man who I am today in PCE and working with it, and also I can draw much digitally better, but I'm going to get to that later on. And it's worth mentioning around this time frame, this is when I started actually writing real Grapeseed Avenue comics and then uploading them, but they were lost media because I did not see to have a point in why I would keep these around. But I guess it's just all history now. Which is said before, but now it's the third. This brings us to the third chapter of this video. Around this time period, this was when 2021, it was summertime, and this is when I was working on more stuff for PCE, which is when I started to expand my art style onto phone instead of paper, and this is where things really got better. I started to experiment with a more variety of characters such as Cherry the Skunk, Tiger Lily, Tangerine, Cyberscale, and a few other names that I can remember off the top of my head back then, but they are no longer canon characters since they do not appeal to the demographic of Grapeseed Avenue and other comic series that are in PCE, but they are history. If you were very active or coexistent among this time period in the PCE fanbase uprising, you will have noticed that I've started to do Flash animations around this time period. Yes, the Flash animation era of PCE. This is when I used to make Flash animations such as You Can't Change, Bradley's transformation, I'm trying to think of more, Miguel's death, and more. These Flash animations were really non-canon and non-meaningful towards PCE, but were meaning behind some people and some things, such as RPs or types of creepypastas I made. Overall, 2021 was a great year for PCE because it also extended its fan base to many other fan bases, such as Happy Tree Friends, Battle for Dream Island, and to some full extent, the furry fandom, the anime fandoms, and also other fandoms around, because the art style it brought, not in the policy, but also to extend is to just bring everybody together, because PCE is just like that. I really miss the days where I wish my mic was trying to kick the bucket this entire time. I'm sorry. That's really just working on artwork, but I still give open arms to other fan bases, but you know that I love y'all and I hope y'all love me. Also, around this time period, it should also go noticed and said that around this time period of the PCE uprising, this was also the time period when the first digital PCE comic related for Grapeseed Avenue was released. The official Grapeseed Avenue comic was released around this time period, which was the biggest peak in my digital artwork journey. A peak. This brings me to the next and fourth chapter. This one's going to be kind of bleak and brief because there's not really much to share about it, but there are some little highlights to put into it. Now, let's dive right in. This entry shouldn't really need too much of an explanation. The PCE account has always had a Twitter account because that's where we post our other artwork and also status updates. But it also has some history behind the entire account too, because the account has went through more changes than the Discord server and anything else combined. First starting at 200 followers, because due to that's when the account went off. It was a big milestone, gaining 200 followers in only a few months. Then it boomed up to 300, and then it stayed stagnant for a bit until it randomly out of nowhere bumped up to a random number, which was surprising, 500. but it was 400 originally, but then 500. And that's when I started to notice that the audience was getting bigger and bigger, wanting more. And then randomly, out of nowhere, we finally reached 1,000 followers, which is the biggest milestone for it. And then it just kept going up and up. We gained more followers by the minutes almost. And then it went stagnant for a bit at 1,300, but then recently it bumped up to 1,700, and that's where we are now because the fandom is as big as ever. Honestly, if PCE never had a Twitter, we would have never been this big, and I thank you all for supporting the Twitter because that is where most of the posts and media go to. The Twitter account is as big as ever, and that is where the main PCE platform lays. Now, for a quick history lesson, did you know that originally PCE wasn't called PCE? The name was literally just Pepper the Phantom Lord. The name didn't really have a studio name yet, so I just named it off my original Twitter tag. I then changed my name to Piperis due to pepper being too generic. So my name became Piperis, which is Latin for just pepper or peppers, and I decided to keep it as my name because it sounded quite interesting and would then go on to also be my producer tag, my media tag, and also my watermark. And then in 2022 would then move on to become my main subhead of the entire studio. And then that became Piperis Creations Entertainment, the studio online that you are watching this video on. Mind blown. It's quite interesting to see how long PCE has came as such a long way, from just simple drawings on a piece of paper with a yellow folder to an entire digital artwork gallery online that you can Google within minutes or seconds. It's really interesting, really. Such a young kid myself, I made such a dream upon this, and now I finally can make a video explaining to y'all what it truly means to me and what it means to everybody else, and the due process of how I did it all in under 4 years. I think it should go to mention that before I even started doing artwork and doing all this PCE stuff, I was really a simple guy. I used to just BMX with friends, BMX in general, and just do random things any teenager would do. Like, even back before I even started drawing in general, I used to just be a really big BMXer, and I would always do tricks with my friends, or I'd even just get into weird shenanigans and just have fun. It was like, actually, for real, there's literal concepts. I drew these in, that's covered in grime. I drew these in, literally 2018-19 circa. I just find it quite cool to see how far PCE has came a long way, because back then it was just paper and pencil, and now it's just an online studio, just various artworks ranging from daily to even hourly uploads. And honestly, I can't do it without y'all, man. Y'all carry me, and y'all give me the inspiration to keep going. Honestly, I don't think I'm ever going to stop doing this, because it's a hobby, and it's like my life now. I cannot do it without y'all. Thank y'all so much for all these years. I'm happy I got to share my story with y'all on where I came from and why I do this for y'all. Honestly, it's kind of cool to explain the behind-the-scenes work of why PCE is what it is. I hope y'all learned a lot from this video and learned about my background of where I come from and why I do this. It's just it's honestly it's a fever dream of how I came a long way from just paper drawings to just full flat out cartoons. It's just it's magical, man. Honestly, I don't know what y'all to expect from this video, but I hope it's something great. Maybe an inspiration, or it can maybe inspire you to create your own dreams. Follow your dreams, make it happen. The world is yours. It's like that. Anyways, there's not really much else for me to tell you, but other than the fact that I'm happy that y'all watched this video and gathered around to see the story and read and view the journey that I've went through to get to where I am now, and also the backdraft and the backdrop and the behind the scenes of everything that's happened throughout the years. And I'm happy y'all got to hear me talk about it and y'all got to listen. So yeah, that's really pretty much the end of the video. I just hope that y'all can maybe aspire to be like me and just follow your dreams and maybe create your own comic series. Honestly, do something that I would. Anyways, not much really else for me to say other than yapping, but I hope y'all enjoy your day, and thank you for watching. I will be uploading more since I have nothing really much to do. Probably some more comic dubbing or maybe some. What do y'all want to see? Tell me in the Discord or tell me on Twitter what y'all want to see, because I'm looking for video ideas. I'm also looking for collaborators just in case y'all want to make videos together. Well, it's not really much for else me to say, but have a great day and thank you for watching. Stay tuned for more. Piperis Christian Entertainment. The world is yours.